Hello and welcome to the top 10 Resident Evil bosses of all time. This is just my personal preference, so feel free to leave your top 10 in the comments below. Number 10, Yawn. The first boss ever in the Resident Evil franchise is a giant poisonous snake that takes down fellow teammate Richard. Seeing this poor bastard bleeding out on the floor and suffering from a very powerful poisoning dies right before you give him the anti-venom. This build-up was genius, and once you finally fought the giant creature, it's tense and intimidating, to say the least. The boss strikes with powerful poisonous bites and can coil around the player to block their flow of movement. This guy even swallows a player whole. Number 9. The original Tyrant. The last obstacle in the original Resident Evil is one of the most intimidating. A human BOW with one massively sized claw for a hand. An inside-out heart and veins, this guy was the stuff of nightmares. He has super strength, so much so that he could break through layers of concrete as he does by jumping through the floor of the roof right next to the heliport. He's also very fast when he wants to be, and we can see this the second time we fight him on the heliport. He literally impales the player and tosses them aside like a pile of trash. Number 8. Lisa Trevor. This monster is a sad and twisted one. Lisa, a young child who was experimented on in the Spencer estate, was held hostage along with her mother and father. Her mother was killed by those same experiments. Lisa moans throughout the mansion looking for her. She even ripped the faces off the female scientists, mistaking them for her mother, and wears them on her face. She has so many of these faces they kinda look like a burlap sack. She is still chained up and uses it as a weapon to knock players out. She also has tentacles protruding from her face, kinda like Nemesis, that can strike the player. She also shows a bit of intelligence with her moans for her mother. Hell, you don't even have to defeat her. Instead, she plunges herself into what seems like an endless abyss after finding her mother's skull. Number 7. U3. This guy right here, he's pure nightmare fuel. Looking like a cross between a scorpion and the Krampus. This guy is pure terror and will live on in my nightmares forever. This thing not only has a tentacle-like appendage that can snap your neck like a twig, it also has another creature growing out its back. This can be used to chop the player in two. This thing can also scale walls like a bug, but a really fucking huge bug. Number 6. Ultimate Abyss. This guy is an extremely tough final boss that has the ability not only to teleport, but to make the player hallucinate and see duplicates trying to confuse you. Made from the T-Abyss virus, Norman injects himself directly, transforming him into this monster. This guy kinda looks like a tyrant, but with added flair. The coolest part is that his face literally splits in two, revealing one creepy Cyclops eye. Number 5. Monster Steve. Monster Steve looks fucking sweet and uses a double-sided axe to hit the player with that can kill him with 2 hits. The only real way to beat Monster Steve is to run away, making a tense moment. Downside to Monster Steve, he does die from getting pushed by a tentacle. Number 4. Veronica. Veronica is one of the most unique bosses in the sense because she can not only summon but control fire. This is probably due to her obsession with fireflies. She has 3 forms, one humanoid, one disgusting mother ant looking thing, and the last being a firefly, of course. Being one of the only flying bosses in the franchise. She can attack you with fire, baby fire ants, and has super strength. The coolest kill is when she picks up Chris and just sets him on fire. Talk about fucking brutal, right? She can only be killed with this special laser gun thing, so... Number 3. Nemesis. Now this guy is fucking brutal. He hunts and stalks the player without mercy throughout the entirety of Resident Evil 3, bent on killing every single STARS member left in the city. He's not only strong, but he's smart. He can go through doors and other obstacles to get to his prey. He can use weapons not only kill his victims, but to trap them as he did to Jill by blowing up her only means of escaping the city. Although he isn't the first stalker in the Resident Evil franchise, that would have to be Mr. X from Resident Evil 2. Nemesis surely fucking mastered this. He attacks with tentacles that not only pierce through human flesh, but also infects them with the T-virus, slowly killing them anyways. He has 3 forms. His first form kinda looks like a Mr. X that went through a Bride of Chucky fucking treatment of stitching up back together after being fucking chopped to bits. The second form is a more trimmed down version that has more battle damage and is faster, and has more access to its tentacles, allowing it to throw the player around like a fucking ragdoll. The last form is a gigantic beastly looking thing that can only be taken down with a gigantic laser, and even when you shoot it with that, it's not even really dead. Number 2. Nix. This Thing is the final boss of Resident Evil Outbreak Final 2, and let me tell you, it's nothing to fuck with. This thing was going to be extracted from the city, but got loose somehow. A team of Umbrella soldiers was sent out to go retrieve this package. However, it escaped. It not only killed all of these soldiers, but it also absorbed all of them into itself. This thing is so fucking crazy that it absorbed a fully evolved tyrant. This monster has many attacks that hit multiple people at once. It can launch projectiles, stomp the ground to reveal vein-like appendages striking at the player's feet. It can beat you with the limbs of the dead Umbrella soldiers. Then it can suck on your face with a tentacle appendage that absorbs the player into itself, fusing them forever. Number 1. William Birkin. William's story is one of a mad scientist through and through. A man so bent on his work that he was willing to die for it, and that's just what he did. After being shot down by Umbrella, who stole his precious G-Virus, he injected himself with a sample, transforming him into a horrible abomination. He then grew a gigantic eye on his shoulder and claws similar to a tyrant. He tracked down his murderers in the sewers and killed them all one by one, and unintentionally infected the city with the G-Virus. This guy has a ton of forms and can even multiply by infecting humans with his offspring, similar to the movie. By grabbing a human host by their face, he can force feed his offspring down their throat where it matures in their cavity, later exploding in a painful manner. A burning sensation can be felt before death. This makes a new monster to fight. Birkin's main motivation is to spread his offspring to a suitable host. In his second form, the claws get bigger, and he grows another head, forcing the other one to the side of its chest. It's noteworthy that he still has remnants of his human clothing at this point. His attacks are far more devastating at this point, as you could imagine. His third form is still humanoid, but much larger, and has 4 arms with huge claws. He has bright red eyes that look scary as fuck. As you could have guessed, he uses 2 arms at a time, striking his victims, shredding them to bits. You can still see his old face, faded, and is a sad reminder of the humanity that he lost. His 4th form is more beastly and grows a monstrous amount of teeth, big octopus mixed with a lion and a shark. He can jump large distances and sprint at the player, blending their body to mush with his teeth. His final form is a blob-like substance that can absorb an entire train, and it took the train blowing up in order to kill it. What's up, people? If you like this top 10 video, be sure to like and subscribe, and leave in the comments what you'd like to see next. I'd be interested in hear that. And if you disagree or agree with this list, that'd be cool too. Now, if you want to see some of my other videos, I'm going to put up my Resident Evil review and my review of the Order 1886, just in case you want to look at those. So I'm just going to put that right here, and I'll see you guys next time.